gonna love you all through the morning. Ain't gonna love you all.
Yeah, see him going where I've been, know how you feel.
Ain't gonna love you all through the morning. Ain't gonna love you all.
I see you going where I've been. I know how you feel. Was at the same place you were now in. You shouting, announcing. You want to win with similar-minded men with great business acumen. We can make an acquisition till the topic turn from tight pockets to high profits. To life assurance, at what age do we all cop it? Fuck who the hottest? Who really stand up? Who really messing with their dead man girl? That says everything about that man world. Energy transfer, immortality. You against morality, don't come around me. Homicidal vinyl section where they always found me. By the motion picture soundtrack with Richard Roundtree on the album sleeve. That's my era shit. Musical excellence, hot like on a detective list. It's simple shit that's keeping you from the shift. You a simp, a trick, or in love with your own dick. Distractions, they come in all ways. I just keep it calm, watching it all play out like it's supposed to. Old dudes playing chess in the park. Old dudes playing chess in prison. Staying on good behavior for extra visits. If they was to switch places, could you tell a difference? It's perspective, isn't it? A team that's militant, a down-ass woman by your side that get it in. The realest, I love this feeling. If you don't have a team that's militant, you better be brilliant. I love this feeling. If you don't have no team that's militant, be mentally equipped. I love this feeling. Watch everybody. That's why I love my team. I love this feeling. Keep calm, but watch everything. It's your monthly subscription to the Slums Edition. The new it was written. Get your hard copies of Blockology coming from the one who lived in a bowl for goldfish. I never sell my soul, just evolve shock rap. That what you never been told shit. Cold part, Illmatic all through that episode of Ozark. I think that's harder than if I had co-starred a ghetto symphony. I'm Chief Keef Cozart, mixed with Mozart. It's ill when you get bags for your own art. $1 million sink for Al Jarreau rap. But they ain't understand it when it drop, yo. How cold is that? They asking if I'm ever gonna be over rap. But I left a few times, just never told you that. Amassing digital assets, no fiscal year kickbacks, yeah, we cash in. Physical money think different, we outlast them. We outclass them, they made it easy to pass them. I love this feeling. I just keep it calm, watching it all play out like it's supposed to. Old dudes playing chess in the park. Old dudes playing chess in prison. Stay on good behavior for extra visits. If they was to switch places, could you tell a difference? It's perspective, isn't it? A team that's militant, a down-ass woman by your side that get it in. The realest, I love this feeling. Every day we do whatever we want, can't front. Yo, I love this feeling. Getting dressed, getting fly just to go to the studio. Hey yo, I love this feeling. Hey yo, tomorrow I'm juicing for the rest of the week, just cause I love this feeling. And Big Bro got his ankle bracelet took off today, yo. We getting on the private jet. I love this feeling. Yeah, I love this feeling. Yeah. It's coming up, right? Yeah. Yo. Yeah. Y'all some drug testers, my guess is I won't be on your guest list. I'm unimpressed with doing press kids. I'm good on looking desperate. I'm on the intersection exit, just missed the pedestrian. Been etched in stone for years and still I got room for perfection. Sometimes I random check it just to see if I still got it. To see it is still shocking. Was lost for words. I'll be lost for words. Still selling out arenas and of course some merch. Got my Emmy nomination, I directed my first docu-series. The EGOT is near me. Emmy, Grammy, Oscar, Tony, this is not no theory. Pouring bottles of Hennessy, got me talking choppy. Over sample chops from Chauncey, I'm lost for words. Was lost for words. My mom told me clean the room, never shop with saving son. Great to have it now, but when it triple shot to death, I had a key around my neck on a string. A curfew, yes, a time to be back at my rest. And my peers I would protect. There was pee all on the steps, slipped when our sneakers got wet. Scared to grab that tech, but I had to get my respect. I was wow. Was lost for words. My guess is someone to replace your soul. AI is only here to replicate and control. Imitating the original, then graft them a mold of the binary code. It's your patterns they stole. This is my tactical flow, the one they can't redesign. You can redo the voice, but you can never read my mind. Was lost for words. Times got me lost for words. That says a lot for a wordsmith. From the free cheese line to Prezi Watson's my first shit. My old earth left, and she was here since my first steps. Therefore, my first words, I asked her where was my work desk. To put rulers to paper, draw measurements, use them later. Punch numbers and calculators. I'm happy to say I made it. Lost for words. I'm speechless. I'm lost for words at the state of my nation's consciousness. Either you woke or nationalist is the politics. I'm lost for words for black babies with low confidence. You could do it too if I win, says the optimist. You ever see a wordless book that does not exist? Say no more, I move letters like Don Cornelius. Rest in peace. Lost for words, I'm speechless.
They walk like we walk, no. They catching their breath, young and they step.
So I mean, that shit happens everywhere, no problem. The fact is this, listen, this is my fact, just to get to it.
People talk like they walk like we walk, no. They catching their breath, young and they step too slow. North side of PG, what we call
You know what you mean. Yes, sir.
I'm straight as a perm, hard to scribble lyrics cause my thoughts are beyond words. Unmatched that.
So it begins, huh?
I'm excited.
You excited?
I'm excited.
Me too.
What I spit is hot burning, like hot to touch, so I'm never concerned with them jealous.
I really don't get with folks that sit around and complain too much and keep trying to act like we're going through what they went through.
They treat us like Jesus, they won't believe us. I'm fed up. I show my
It's because naturally women support men that's on their shit. If you really want her to be on that same type level with you and beyond, surpass that man.
Points. SmittysCorner.
Respect. Welcome back to SmittysCorner. All right, so it is time for our daily dose of wisdom. The weak-minded will always blame others. The average of us will always blame themselves, and the wise ones will see all blame as foolishness. I digress. My mic is muted. This has been Smitty. Respect.
I got one. I got one right now. I'm trying to get her in. Got it. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. I got it. Yeah. Got one. Got one. We got one. Look at that. Look at that. God damn it. Come on. Look at that. Look at that. I got it, bruh. I got it, bruh. Look at that. Yeah. Yeah.
This is a big ass snapping turtle.
Yes, it is.
This is how you safely do it. You're supposed to get them from the back, right here. Now watch this. Watch them. You're gonna snap on me. See that?
Yep.
See that? That's how you pick them up safe. Come on, buddy. Come on. Come on, I got you. I got you. Let's go and get back in that water. Ah!
Oh, you know, you hit the
That nigga
thing.
big as shit, bro.
I know, pick him up one more time.
No, I ain't picking his ass up. I am not touching him. He know where he's at.
Wait.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
You gotta press record again.
Oh man. absolutely beautiful. I don't know y'all view. I'm in the real deal. I'm out here in that real deal, baby. Sheesh. I love it. You know. All right. Respect to you all. Respect to you all. Welcome back to Smitty's Corner. So, we're going to really get into it tonight. We are definitely going to talk about what needs to be spoken about. What needs to be spoken about? I would say, if you think about it, what doesn't need to be spoken about? So we're going to get to it. We're going to go ahead. We're going to unpack a lot of things tonight. But as always, you all know exactly how we do things on this side. So, first and foremost, how was your day? How's the day been treating you? And how's your headspace? Just in case no one else asked you. Respect to you all. All right now. So we're gonna just go ahead and get this going. Salute to Queen Sunkiss unpacking. Okay now. All right. Okay, cool beans. And that's what I love right there. Thank you definitely for checking in. I appreciate you. So we're gonna go ahead and get this going. Now, what I want to know is, when you as an individual Black person, if you think about the struggles that you go through, what comes to your mind? What exactly clicks with you when you think of struggle? And when you think of struggle, do you think of it as a personal problem, or do you look at it as a community holistic problem? How do you see the problems that we go through? Now, of course, y'all already know. Of course, I got a video, right? And I do believe this is something very interesting, and I really want to go through this, right? Now, what I want to know first and foremost is, does anybody believe that whatever it is that the government has done for us has been more of a benefit, or has it been more of a detriment? That's what I want to know first. If you don't mind typing it in. And whatever it is that you think about it, just say it out loud or quietly to yourself, but think about it. When we think about, all right, bet, we are in a wonderful country. We are able to get assistance and everything. Okay, cool. There are places where you can't get food stamps. There are places where you won't be able to receive not a fraction or anything that if you were anywhere else, you wouldn't get that. But you know something here? Right here, we have something called the beautiful struggle. What is the beautiful struggle? The beautiful struggle means that there is a very, very small group of us here in America that recognizes no matter how long we have struggled, no matter how much we actually go through, we will always go through something. You know what I've noticed as to be the biggest detriment to any form of growth when it comes to our struggle in particular? I would say that definitely is when those of us throughout our community have an individual thought process as opposed to what our struggle consists of. Yeah. Salute. But nah, real talk though. What really is our struggle? And then when we think about it, is it beneficial for us in any form of fashion to ever look at our struggle, keyword our, as in we, as in the collective, as in the entirety? Would it benefit my community if I was to look at my struggle as a just me thing? Or would it be more beneficial if I actually looked at the struggle in which we all deal with and go through? Would it be more beneficial if I actually looked at it as something that, you know what, just maybe I'm not the only one who shares these wide nostrils and thick lips and this melanated complexion. Maybe I'm not the only one that's gone through what it is that I speak of. Maybe this is something that majority of us have gone through. So I just really wonder, how do we see these things, right? But we're going to really get into it. We're going to talk about a lot tonight. We're going to talk about a whole lot. Let's go ahead and get into this. All right. So I'm going to pull something up and we're going to go ahead and we're going to break this shit down. Like, we're going to break it down. But with that being said, most definitely I digress. My mic is muted. Y'all already know. We're going to get to a quick commercial break. And this quick commercial break, let me see, which one do I want to do? All right, bet. This commercial break is most definitely brought to you by why I can't engineer Drake. Yeah, that's right. Like, well, no, not Drake, Kendrick. All right. So at times there are engineers and people who feel as if, you know what I'm saying, some of these artists are just too difficult to deal with. I agree. Some artists are too difficult to deal with. What is it like dealing with those artists that is difficult to deal with? I don't have to tell you. We're just going to go ahead and get to it. Let's rock out and let's see what we got.
Okay, listen. When I come in, I want the pitch to be very low and then gradually get higher. Just like the way I'm talking right now.
Yes, I like that. Okay.
This is Conscious Kendrick. This is Conscious Kendrick, and I hope it's not condescending, but I wrote this, I'm condescending, a potent and constant ending the questions posed to the pros and the cons of sinning. Let us pray. If God were from Compton just for a day, will he come out and play? Will he stay in the house and clean his AK? Pull up on niggas beefing, close his eyes, let us pray. Yeah. Okay, so the next 4/5 of the bar is going to have a filter and be panned to the left.
4/5? How the hell am I supposed to calculate that shit?
You know who would be dope on this record? Alex Trebek.
What?
Never mind. I know where you stay, live at, and where you hide.
I know where you ride. Never been to Rosecrans, nigga, come and find. Okay, now I'm gonna switch up the beat.
Bruh, how you gonna do 2 bars and just hop to another beat like that?
Because this beat isn't for talking. These drums are strictly for walking.
Whatever, now.
I was riding down the street, nodding to the beat, with the OG sipping on some yak, CD on repeat, pulled up to the light, seen some niggas that was hating from the party, then okay, right here, you're gonna put a gunshot so they know I got killed, and then you're gonna put a giraffe sound and go back to the first beat.
Hold up, man, you doing too much now. What the fuck does this giraffe sound like?
It's similar to a spider sound, but it has a longer neck.
Nigga, you got me switching beats like I'm a DJ.
It's okay, Crank. What happens on Earth stays on Earth.
The fuck does that even mean?
At the end of this song, I want you to put Martin Luther King's I Have a Dream speech, but play it in Spanish.
Bruh, I'm not doing that.
My next album is gonna be called Fuck.
What?
I be. This was not goodness or for the sewer. This I want to make this song 27 minutes long, so it's a soundtrack to the Chick-fil-A drive-thru line.
My nigga, I know you say you don't smoke, but you gotta be high to come up with this shit.
I want you to take the beat, right? But drop the snare out of it and replace it with Erykah Badu sneezing.
I don't get paid enough for this shit.
I have a song with Rihanna called Loyalty. My next song is going to be called Distraction, featuring Ty.
Fathers have left home in order for their children to get meat and bread. There are so many dehumanizing elements in the welfare system that we are concerned about removing.
Shit. Okay. So, all right, you can't hear me. So I'm going to start that part over. We're going to go ahead and we're going to listen to this. What I want to speak about is how I want us to really think about, are we really going at each other because it's valid, or are we really going at something that's much larger than us? You know, I keep hearing about this whole gender war thing. The men are this, the women are that. You know, I've always made it a point to say to myself, I don't really focus on either one of that shit. I don't sit down and take time to figure out how can I pop up on the next panel and tell these women how wrong they are. Huh? I don't want to do that. Now, thank you, Sunkiss. I appreciate you. Like, that's not my mode. We don't realize there's been something so much larger than us as the men or the women. There's been something much more larger and much bigger that has taken place that has put basically all of us in a very, very harsh and detrimental place. So now I'm going to get into this video. And with that being said, I digress. My mic is muted. Let's go ahead and listen. And I'll pause it throughout. And we're going to go ahead and break this down. Because the fact is, it's not the men's fault. Ladies, it's not your fault. We really, truly have been bamboozled and hoodwinked. Us as a collective have truly been fucked over. Excuse my English. Let's get to it.
Fathers have left home in order for their children to get meat and bread. There are so many dehumanizing elements in the welfare system that we are concerned about removing. Ultimately, we are concerned about a guaranteed annual income. And the other thing I think it is...
With this right here, we're speaking about the welfare system. You know, it's so crazy. Like, I see us going at each other. We go at each other viciously. We go at women for going at men for child support. We go at men for not paying child support or not being able to maybe, let's say, get sufficient income there are a lot of parameters that have been put in place to see to it that us as a people in its entirety stays at odds. And, you know, I want to expose these things. I want us to look deeper into just this gender war. Modern women, nothing ass niggas and pookies and ray rays. It's much deeper than that. Much, much deeper. And that's something that I've always seen. So I'm going to take this moment to absolutely make sure that we expose this for what it really is. And what is that? A demon from the pits of hell that basically came about to make sure that we always stayed at odds. Let's go.
Very necessary to say is that everybody's on welfare in this country. And when it comes to black people and poor people, we just call it something else. When it's for white people and rich, we call it subsidies.
How do you feel about that? When it comes to us, it's called welfare, food stamps. When it comes to the others, it's called subsidies. They're just being subsidized. They're just being helped. When it comes to us, it's called a handout. It's called welfare. It's called basically a thrift store. Now, I want us to really pay attention to how all this shit plays out, because we're going to get into it deeply. Let's go.
It's no secret. Fatherless households are more common in the Black community. A survey from the American Consensus Institution revealed that 67% of Black children under 18 in the US live in homes without fathers. This is a stark contrast to white children, as only 24% of them live in fatherless homes. But it wasn't always like that. The Black families survived generations of open racism, widespread poverty, and slavery. They lived through segregation and violence, and strong family bonds used to be the norm.
Just like it was said, once upon a time, we had exactly what it is that we knew our white counterparts and those others of us, you know, the others, period, had as well. And that was a strong family bond. Now, I want us to really pay attention to how this all works out and how this all plays a part. You know, it's a lot that comes with this. All right. So let's go ahead and let's just keep on looking. Let's just keep on rocking out what exactly takes place when it comes to this. Okay. Let's see what we got. Now, mind you, I stopped it because I want to make it clear. Us as Black people, we had exactly what the others had from the very beginning. Now, I want to try to, if I can, maybe get a better feel of how do we get to where we are now, to where things are so divided. And for some reason, our women's problem is only their problem, and the men's problem is only their problem. The kids' problem is only their problem, and the elders' problem is only their problem, when once upon a time, it was all considered the problems of the village. Once upon a time, like, whatever my peoples went through, I went through. Whatever I went through, my peoples went through. Once upon a time, that really was the case. Let's go ahead and let's see what we got.
As of 1960, 2/3 of all Black American children were living with both parents. That declined over the years until only 1/3 were living with both parents in 1995. So it's not the legacy of slavery that destroys the African American family.
It's the legacy of the welfare state.
Between 1890 and 1950, the marriage rate was much higher among Black women than white women. A fraction of Black children lived.
Now, that's something that I would have never, ever guessed one time. I want us to hear that one more again for the win. I want us to hear that one more again for the win. Once upon a time, Black women had a higher marriage rate than white women.
It's the legacy of the welfare state.
Between 1890 and 1950, the marriage rate was much higher among black women than white women. A fraction of black children lived in homes without their fathers. But everything changed with the expansion of the welfare state. It divided the household and created a dependency on welfare. This kind of reminds me of what President Reagan said.
I've always felt the 9 most terrifying words in the English language are, I'm from the government and I'm here to help.
So, what happened? What's the mechanism? Here is a detailed look at how the welfare state played a role in the dissolving of the family structure over the years.
That's very heartbreaking. You know, to think that once upon a time, we actually did. Like, we actually really, truly had a much more deeper and profound, family base. All right. So I want us to listen again. The main reason and purpose for this entire live is for us to get this. The struggle of the Black community is the struggle of the Black community. Everything that we have gone through as people is something that we have had to go through together for the longest. The dads had to go through that with the moms. The moms had to go through it with the dads. Guess what? The kids, unfortunately, had to experience what mom and dad had to go through together. These are things that honestly, truly have continuously taken place. It's sad, but let's keep on rocking out. Let's get back to it.
The welfare state played a role in the dissolving of the family structure over the years. People say that the breakdown of traditional family units, family structures, is a byproduct of Black poverty, not just because there is no man to support the family financially, but also because women tend to earn less than men on average. Of course, the connection between...
Now, look at how wild that is. Now, what's being spoken about right now is coming from a more so, it's coming from a, let's say, outdated perspective that the women make less. Again, I was born in 82. I remember, like, at least around since I was about maybe in my early teens, like 12 to 13 or whatever, around then. My mother, she was making more than my father. From that point on, my mother made more money than my dad. But again, you would never know that my mother made more money than my father because the way they operated in their marriage was very much so on a, I guess you can say, traditional standpoint. And that traditional standpoint is we just work together. We don't, like, my father was never in any point in fashion from when I was growing up, what I have seen, I've never seen my dad overstep my mother. I've never seen my mother overstep my father. I've always seen them work together. That is something that I do remember seeing. And I must say, a large part of what I saw my parents display in front of me and my siblings and in front of the rest of the family for years and decades on end has been a large part as to why I do have the view that I do when it comes to family orientation, when it comes to community and everything else. I saw what it was to be loved. I felt it. I seen it. I was able to taste it in the food that was cooked for me and my siblings. I grew up to these things and I will never forget it, you see? So let's keep on rocking out. And with that being said, I digress. My mic is muted. Let's go ahead and, as you know, let's dive back down to earth.
Oh, shit. Between the two is there, but it goes deeper than that. Welfare was a mean little business. It was designed to get people by in a pinch. Public assistance programs, like welfare entitlements, have been a part of American culture since the 1940s. Unfortunately, like in many other aspects of government institutions, Black Americans were left out. In time, Black people could also get financial support, but it wasn't easy. Mothers who applied for checks had to let social workers inspect their homes to see if their conditions were suitable for welfare. These workers also had to make sure no man was living in the house. But even if they qualified...
Now, right there, that is something that is so deep. That is something that's so heavy. So, you know, people will ask, well, what have Black women been through? You know what my sisters had to go through? My sisters, the women that I love and are attracted to and dedicate everything that I do for, as well as myself. You know what they had to go through? They had to go through making a very, very tough choice and ultimatums. You know, see, the thing is this, the government is very crafty. Now, let me tell y'all a secret of how this works. Now, I want y'all to stay with me. Follow me. Real shit. Follow me. Because naturally, organically, women give birth. It's a science behind all of this. Women give birth. The scientists of this know this. So what do? They look up and they research the psychological effects of when a woman does not feel secure. What is the number one thing that we hear from women, fellas, that they want from us? Like the number one thing they look for in a man. Next to maybe, you know, good looks or humor. Let's just be for real. It's called consistency. You know what the government promised our sisters? Consistency. They promised them that. Now, the sad part about it is that they didn't promise our sisters a lifestyle and consistency of being able to truly flourish, being able to truly do this, then step out on your own. What took place is that our sisters, just as much as us, we were put into a predicament where, because they saw we weren't staying married, not getting married, we were getting married still, but the divorce rates were higher. This is long before people started talking about don't get married. You see? And so now we're at this fork in the road as a village, as a people. And that fork in the road consisted of our men, the men standing on one side, the women standing on the other side. And guess who's right in the middle? Guess who's the actual fork of the road? The actual community, the youth, and the elders. And those of us as men and women, we, as opposed to deciding to keep things together, somehow or another we got divided. We split up. We went separate paths. And then we wound up meeting up again. But when we met up again, we didn't have the same ideology and thought process. When we finally met up again, the men, by the time we got through everything we done went through, the headspace was totally different. Same thing on my sister's side. When my sisters finally came through the brush, and when we finally met up right there again, we met up at odds. And that's what really started to perpetuate what we see today when we talk about these gender wars, which really shouldn't even exist. Because the fact is, we will still, as the women and as the men of the community, we will sit there and say all day, we are the minorities. Well, okay, cool. We know that we are the minority, then we don't got no business trying to divide shit between whose plight was worse between the men and the women. Our best bet is to figure out how can we overcome everything that this broken ass system has put all of us through, considering we have done so much to add to the system. There's so much that we've done to add to be of a progressing factor as to why this country moves the needle forward, as to why this country has such great protection and everything. Our grandfathers and forefathers was in those wars just as much as the Pilgrims. We were there too. We were there too. My grandfather was in the Korean War, Red Ball Express. We were there too. We made sure we did our part. And the way that the system has been able to manipulate us into really believing that is something wrong with the men or is something wrong with our sisters. And the only ones who really see it in such a effed up way is our own. Everybody else sits back and laugh and they like, look at how we trick bagged them in their headspace because we know they're so emotional. And then what I see happens year in, year out, decade in, decade out, election time in, election time out. I see that we continuously are the ones who are always behind the 8 ball. We're the ones caught between the rock and the hard spot. We're the ones that always still have to make very, very tough decisions. We're the ones that continuously do not see the true growth in our communities. I notice these things. That's the shit that mess with me so tough because I love us too much, because I know how much we are truly the fabric of the earth. That shit is wild. Let's keep on rocking out. I digress. My mic is muted. Let's get it.
For support, the amount they received was meager and not enough to build a stable life. In the early 1960s, welfare was not yet common, even in the most impoverished Black communities. In the decade that followed, the number of Black people on welfare went up by 169%. They further increased by 30% from 1970 to 1975. In 1972, New York City, almost 1 out of every 6 residents was on welfare. A major portion of these households were Black. Although Black people were only around 1/10 of all Americans, they made up almost 50% of all welfare recipients by the late 70s. A recent UNICEF report.
Now, how do we get to that? How did we flip it that fast? See, this is what I want to say. Like I just played before. Everything that was said before, that wasn't that much further ahead of what is being said now. You see the pictures, the despair. We were once such a flourishing like tribe and community. We have those of us who will go so far as to be disappointed to the point where we would say we have no community. Now, how does these things take place? How did they get us? You know how they got us? The only way they knew possible. Us on the outside can't infiltrate them. They too damn strong. They too strong. Like they too solid. They're not going for nothing. Did you not see the last parade or march or whatever they had? The Negroes are not going for shit. How can we get to them? Well, like any great war general tactic, you infiltrate from the inside out. That's how they brought about disease. It affects the body from the inside out. That's how they brought about taking away our spirituality and handing us a Bible. although I don't take from the word, I'm just saying, get them from the inside out. That's your spirit from within. And then we go to the outside. How do you get them? Make sure that you infiltrate them through their community. Get the women to be at odds with the men. Get the men to be at odds with the women. Have them actually go back and forth about who is more at fault. Whole time while they doing that, we just gonna sneak smooth up under their nose. We're gonna take everything they ever known and loved. We're gonna exploit them. Those who we see may be of a certain status, we'll give them a platform and we'll allow them to speak their bullshit against their own. These things take place. Unfortunately, we're just in a mass group, not all of us, but in a mass group, we fall for the trickery. We fall for the effery. We fall for the trick bag. We fall for it, just like autumn when November hits. It's crazy. Let's keep on listening.
Report showed that many children under 18 in America struggle financially, and African American children are nearly 4 times more likely to be in poverty than white children. Though the number of families receiving cash assistance has decreased since 1996, child poverty rates for Black children in the U.S. remain high. This outcome is not by accident. I studied the evolution.
What I want to know is this. You know how we will say, right? This is what I want to know. We will say, well, there are more white people, so they're on food stamps more, right? We'll say that. There are more white people, so they're on food stamps more. But does welfare affect the white community as much as the Black? I just want us to think more than react and respond out of emotion. I want us to really sit back and think, yo, what's been really going on with us? And I really do not put a lot of this shit on us. They knew exactly how to get to us. Now, okay, cool. I'm not even monetized, but the fact is, I'm just one out of many of us that want us to actually see what's taking place. Now, let's go ahead and get the ball rolling. Let's keep this shit going. I digress. My mic is muted. Let's rock out.
Of social welfare policies in the U.S. from the New Deal to the 1996 reforms, and found that these policies have been discriminatory from the start. And a lot of people can confess to that. This led many Black families to fall into cultural and economic ruin. In a short period, healthy Black people started relying on government assistance to achieve some level of normalcy. But within the city slums, that normalcy was impossible to get. Black children barely knew their fathers, and most were raised by unemployed and unmarried mothers stuck in a cycle of poverty and modest paychecks. This marked a significant shift in Black American history. The consequences were severe for the next generation.
Now, did we hear what was just said? They handed us a check. So basically, they said, I'll trade you this check for your family. I'll trade you this check for everything that you stand for. I'll trade you this check for everything that I know what will make you great. They didn't just hand us a Bible, they also handed us something called welfare. As a matter of fact, honestly, I would take out the whole they took our freedom and handed us a Bible. I would say they took our freedom and handed us WIC and EBT. That's what they handed us. The fact is, before any of that, no matter how much we might have been struggling, we had a sense of unity that was unmatched. It was absolutely, positively unmatched. Salute, salute, Brother Bolo in the building. Respect to you, my G. Respect to you. We had a sense of unity that was unmatched. Again, people, I don't want to keep focusing on what the men do that make them nothing ass niggas. I don't want to focus on what my sisters do that make them the modern women and why we should zoom to Thailand. Y'all should shut that shit up. We need to really focus on what is the true poisonous root that is going on as to why we can't grow crops no more. We once used to be very much so a community and a civilization of much so a flourishing, blossoming, blooming through all seasons type of people. And they got us. They got us. Now, all right, cool beans. Okay, all right, bet. No problem. They got us. We not forever lost. We're not. We actually can make this shit work. It can happen. We can bring things back to the point where we flourish, we blossom, we bloom. We don't just barely keep our heads above water and keep from drowning. Let's keep on rocking up.
Start with the Social Security Act of 1935. It was introduced during Franklin Roosevelt's administration. It was designed to create the safety net in the country, safeguarding families from losing their income. It was viewed as a significant part of New Deal reform and paved the way for federal protections in the future, such as the Affordable Care Act and Medicare. This policy had two main parts. The first part had social insurance programs that provided financial support to dependents of deceased or incapacitated workers, and Social Security for retired older Americans.
I want us to pay attention to that. So apparently, everything that we've ever been handed, everything that we've ever received, it's always been something that we had to receive. We had to receive it because they actually got us out of out of our body. And even deeper, they got us out of our spirit. They took everything sacred from us, everything that kept us going when we had nothing. They stripped us naked, not of clothes, but of value. And so now we have today where we just have this thing where we look at each other as the main enemy. They have been that cunning, that smart. They have been able to infiltrate our spirit. And you know what's so crazy to me? How does the one with no soul, with no spirit, infiltrate the one with an abundance of both? How do we let that happen? They're the ones who say, no, it's all science, Big Bang, ain't no God. You're lucky by coincidence and chance. The others say that. We're the ones that say, ain't no luck. I'm blessed. There's no luck. There's no by chance. God is in control. Oh, no, it doesn't just go black when you leave here in blank. We transition. And depending on how you conduct yourself depends on which direction you go in when you transition. We are the ones of that. We are the ones of the higher learning and the higher intellect and thinking. We are those that actually know what all of this consists of. Do you see these three individuals in front of your screen? We are the ones that taught their great grandfathers and grandmothers. We taught their people. We showed their people a certain path and way. And you know what took place? All of that was turned against us. All of that was exploited against us. and it was used for something different. You smell me now? Let's go ahead and get back to the video. And with that being said, I digress. My mic is muted. Let's go ahead and rock out. Reeves, bro.
Second part comprised means-tested public assistance programs, initially known as Aid to Dependent Children, and later renamed Aid to Families with Dependent Children. In 1962, under the Kennedy administration, ideally, it was believed that as the overall quality of life in the country improved, more families could support themselves without needing financial assistance from the ADC program. Eventually, the ADC program would...
I want y'all to pay attention. Y'all see that little photo right there? They show the little white boys and shit right here. Like right here.
Families could support themselves without needing financial assistance.
All right, boom. Y'all know that's white folks, even as far back then, receiving government assistance. This is part of how the old process worked. But see, the thing is this. Okay, there are those who would say that they went through the exact same, but the fact is this. Who does it still affect the most? But see, the thing is this. How did those who we gave so much an abundance of wisdom and contribution to labor, work, engineering, scientific inventions, they never surpassed us. They only kept moving the needle forward in ways that we didn't. We was doing the damn thing for so long, and for some reason we got complacent, and we felt like because we went through slavery or whatever, we got this now place to just complain and bitch and argue. And it's like, no, we got to say to ourselves, keep the needle moving, keep the chains moving. We don't want to just score the touchdown. We want to win the game. And we don't want to just win the game. We want to crush these Bamas. We want to destroy every single talking point that the world has ever said about us, because we show how truly, truly resilient we are as a people. That is the main thing that I say to myself, that I look at and I want to pay attention to. But let's keep on rocking out.
From the ADC program. Eventually, the ADC program would become unnecessary and gradually phase out on its own. But this posed a major problem for Black Americans. Like any other component of the New Deal, the origins of the Social Security Act were deeply rooted in racism. During the 1930s and 1940s, Black people had to deal with widespread racial discrimination in the workplace. They held low-paying jobs, often paid in cash and off the books. This made them ineligible for social insurance programs. The ADC program was an extension of state-run programs that supported widowed mothers, but mostly benefited white.
So the Aid to Dependent program. Now, mind you, all right, I was born 82. I'm not real hip to this. I didn't really hear about this. The ADC program, I didn't really hear about this. This is something different. Let's keep on rocking out. Let's see what we got.
White widows. The states decided eligibility and need, and since the separate but equal doctrine was in place, Blacks were still excluded from fully participating. Jim Crow laws and the separate but equal doctrine led to a system with different services for whites and Blacks. But as we all know by now, they were far from equal. States made efforts to cut down ADC enrollment and costs.
Now, this is the part that makes it very, very difficult. All right, so now watch this. Watch this. Just another example as to why I say they got us at odds. It's not just, oh, nigga, you dark-skinned, black-ass, nappy-head mother. It's not just, oh, you yellow bone, red, light-skinned, whatever, you know what I'm saying, mixed with the master's blood type, you know what I mean? It ain't just that. You know how they also get us? They get us in classism. And they get us in so many different ways that have us divided. This whole Jim Crow thing if you're somebody who's well versed enough in this whole let's say diaspora of topic, you know that there are a lot of us who will say, oh no, man, Jim Crow, that whole thing was fake. I've heard it. I know I'm not the only one that's heard it. There are people who will pull up a book and tell you Jim Crow, that whole thing is fake. But I can't help but to sit back and say, even if it is fake, what I heard, that shit sound on point like shit. You know, there are things that are folklore that people still take to be very, very real. I don't know. Let's keep on listening, but I just want us to pay attention to how much they got us divided, even down to something that speaks about all of us suffering. And even in that, they can get us to split up, divide, and say, this is real. No, it's not. And once again, we're more at each other on if the Jim Crow law whole writing was real, or should we really just pay attention to what was written in it? Like, I want y'all, like how much they got us. Let's keep on rocking out. I digress. My mic is muted. Let's go.
They proposed residency requirements to prevent blacks from the South from qualifying for the program. In 1935, there was a hearing on a bill, and the NAACP, an organization that fights for civil rights, expressed their concerns. Southern politicians wanted to exclude agricultural and domestic workers from the bill. This meant that many black workers couldn't get the support they needed. This exclusion would particularly affect black sharecroppers and cash tenants, who were already struggling to make ends meet. Even though the NAACP was highly against it, the Social Security Act was approved. That's why 65% of African Americans nationwide were not eligible for benefits, and an even larger percentage of these black families in the South were excluded from the program. In the 1950s and 60s, things got even worse for black.
So now they're saying, okay, bet. Now we're moving up closer. Okay, so my father was born in 55. My mother was born in 54. All right. So now this is around where I'm hearing things started to really turn and go left. This is why I'm hearing things really started to, I guess we could say, it just really wasn't holding up. This is where folks could say, you know, the age of modern woman, and I guess you can say Pookie and Ray Ray started to emerge and everything. Now we're talking about the 50s right here. Okay. So I want us to really, really pay attention to how we're going down the line of how, you know, things just started to go downhill for us. We really started to look at one another as more of the enemy slowly, not just yet. Oh, because we was definitely fight the power and everything. All right. So we haven't even begun to hit, like, you know, the whole like civil rights and all these things. But I want us to pay attention how slowly it's going to creep up on us. Let's go.
Families, welfare checks incentivized single mother households. And there was one rule that ruined it all: the man in the house rule. Black families have long been the victims of income inequality and bad government policies. The irony, of course, is that conservatives pushed black mothers to break their families to get welfare.
Don't y'all know? There's actually something. All right. So you know how we have Section 8. I don't know if it's Section 3 or 4. It's one of the two. You know what actually states and says those, you know, the couple who gets married, everything that the single mom gets from the Section 8 housing, whatever, how many, you know, however many bedroom townhouse or apartment, whatever, the whole nine, whatever little Medicaid, Medicare insurance, you know, that's like almost doubled, tripled, quadrupled if you're actually married. It's a whole nother section. It's a whole nother section that, for some strange reason, is never really truly prominently spoken about. They never really speak about this other section that actually exists. And it's not section 8. What y'all thought it just went from 0 to 8 and that's it? No. It's sections 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. It's many, 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 many sections. Now, I want to know, why is it that my people only know about section number 8? Why is that the only section out of many, 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 many sections that exist? Why is that? What exactly is that as to the reason as to why we operate and think that section 8 is the only one that exists? You ever heard niggas talk about section 4 or 5? You ever heard niggas talk about section 3? You ever heard niggas talk about section 12? Y'all do know those are real sections throughout the government law. We don't talk about it because it's not incentivized for us to talk about it, because if we were incentivized about it, it would actually benefit us. Let's go.
Before 1968, many states and administrative agencies created and enforced the man in the house rule. This rule basically meant that if there is a working or healthy man in the house, the government can't help you. And they would go as far as to send welfare workers to visit the homes without warning to check if a man was present. If they found any evidence whatsoever, families lost their welfare benefits.
Do y'all hear that? I don't want us to forget this shit right here. Like, let's really not forget this. If they saw any clue, I'm talking about, yeah, listen, you saw how they showed them coming in like detectives with trench coats and stuff. If they saw a toothbrush that was out of place, pair of shoes in the closet, and to this very day, you know, those same checks are still in place. Are they in place to make sure that that woman who has kids gets the best outcome possible? Or is it to make sure that our sisters continuously stay in a downtrodden state, as well as our brothers? Because the fact is that the man that has a child with that woman in that circumstance, you know, they're both in a let's say needing position. That's not a bad thing at all. That's not, you're not a low life or a bad person because you actually need some help. Don't get me started on my story and how much help I need. Okay. But I will say, it's designed to make sure that we never strive to really push, again, the needle forward. We never strive to push the chains forward to get that next first down and not keep continuously getting 3 and outs as a community. They want to make sure that we're always on defense. We always have our guard up. Why is that? So they can come smooth in and lay our guard down just enough to go ahead and pluck out our resources and finances and then move to the next community of us, with nothing ever really being shown for what it is that we should receive. Let's go.
Over the years, the welfare state started dissolving the family structure, slowly but surely. A man who can't get a decent job and provide a substantial income suddenly believes that his family is better off without him. So, if a man were to lose his job, he literally had to leave the house so his children could get government surplus peanut butter, beans, and cheese. On the other hand,
can you imagine being a man who loves your family so much? You say, I'll leave home just so you can have beans, chili, cheese, and peanut butter and bread for the kids. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine having to step away and walk away from everything you know and love just to do that? And people ask, what do black men go through? People may ask, what do black women go through? Like, are you serious? We, as a collective, go through some very, very much so horrific things, but we never display it that way because we know how to rock through this shit. And it's just something about us. We just know how to make it through and make the best out of nothing.
and if either the woman or the man, or both, were irresponsible, they faced no consequences for their actions. And it was the taxpayers who ended up paying for it. These things aren't exactly designed to keep the marriage intact. They are meant to divide people. The harm done to the children was massive. Many children experienced the hurt from broken families at such a young age.
Let's pay attention. It's not just the little girls that suffered. It's not just the little boys who suffered. Our children in its entirety has suffered. Guess what those, listen, do you see these same little kids right here on the screen? Do you know what they grow up to be? Us. One day they become the adults and we become the elder grandparents and so on and so forth. They make sure that if we ever try to pass down anything, there's nothing to pass down because everything that was given to you was from the government. I see through this plan. I see through everything that they've done to us. Black Panther in my former life. Salute to the one I love.
Age. In 1960, just 33% of Black American children didn't live with two parents, but by 1988, that rate went up to 61%. In that time, the proportion of Black children born to single mothers rose from 23% to more than 60%. This is exactly why we can't judge government policies based on their ideals, but based on their results. And these results, well, left a ton of households fatherless. I mean, think about it. What would the result have been if this welfare policy had required the opposite of that? That both parents live in the same home and care for their children to receive government assistance.
How do you see that? We're just going to listen because I'm going to do a part 2, but we're just going to keep on listening until we get to the 10-minute mark. Let's rock out.
Welfare state did what slavery couldn't do. It broke families apart, and broken families fuel poverty. The structure of the family can influence the choices children make. For example, boys raised without their fathers are more likely to drop out of school, get violence, use drugs, or go to jail. Girls are more likely to have a child out of wedlock or engage in sexual activities at a very early age. These children are...
God think that the people who orchestrated everything that takes place didn't know all of these probabilities. See, the thing about it is that they knew that we were the ones that will figure this out when it's too late. They knew that by the time we actually caught on, the poison is already set in. The disease is already set. The division has already been divided. All thoughts of unity, and we are one as Black people, has now been completely dismissed. They know this. They planned it from the jump. It's all right. We didn't see it at first. We do see it now. We can do something now, today. No, it is not too late. Let's keep on going. If nobody gonna say this shit, I'm gonna do it. I could give two shits how boring this live is. Somebody got to talk about it. Let's go.
Are also more prone to mental health problems, which can affect them as adults. A psychology test detailed in Roy Baumeister and John Tierney's book, Willpower, showed that children from fatherless households were more likely to settle for a small prize straight away. In contrast, children with fathers present were more willing to wait for a bigger prize. Experts.
Why do you all think that is? You know, I actually never heard that before. This is something that I'm hearing that is new to me as well. They say children who usually didn't come up with their father, they look for the easy way out in life. Let's just nutshell it. Those who came up with mom and dad generally had more patience in taking the high road, which they know may be the tougher road, but it will be more beneficial. You see how they got us?
From the Northwestern Institute for Policy Research challenged that these effects are primarily due to dangerous neighborhoods or poor schools. They found that the direct effect of family structure itself played a more significant role. As marriage rates declined among the poor and working class in the US, the institution of marriage has remained strong among the wealthier population, with similar rates to those from 50 years ago. At the same time, the decrease in marriage among the working class has led to a significant rise in out-of-wedlock births, often to couples who are living together without being married. This happens because people view marriage as an ideal situation, but feel it is unachievable, yet they still want to have children. In the mid-1980s, the rates of fatherless households.
That's the thing about it. You know how they put us in such a trick bag? How they got us by the balls. What civilization doesn't want to have children? What civilization of humans does not want a legacy to live on? Bear children. I just don't get it. Who doesn't want that? Right? But you know how they get us? Let's figure out a way to make them actually feel some kind of way about having children, knowing you can't afford them. How do they hit us with that? We're going to throw a certain amount of government assistance to some of you all. We're going to allow a certain amount of you all to actually make it through the cracks. And then from there, you see, absolutely out of this world. Let's keep on rocking out. We got a few more minutes before we get up out of here. I digress. My mic is muted. Let's go.
Households dramatically increased. Today, just 44% of Black children live with their fathers. Also, a lot more Black children are born outside of marriage. The rates of such cases went up from 24.5% in 1964 to 70.7% by 1994, which remains at a similar level today. Many people blame the expansion of welfare programs for the breakdown of Black families. Since 1935, people have had access to cash welfare, but this welfare was quite modest and not enough to cover any of the living expenses. With Johnson's Great Society, which began in 1964, welfare benefits became much more generous and controlled. When I mean controlled, I mean crazy. The man in the house rule discouraged marriage because it provided welfare assistance to mothers if no man was living in the house. If a mother married an employed man, even one earning the minimum wage, it jeopardized her financial support. These benefits were huge. The Great Society programs offered a way out for low-income Black families. This could be why, in 1964, only 7% of American children were born out of wedlock, compared to the current rate of 40%. So,
my bad. Let's look at that. In 1964, that's not that far back. I know. We want to make it seem like that's something so ancient. There were colored TVs and all kinds of things. 1964, 7%. 2023. That's not 2005. That's not 98. That's only 1 year ago from this very moment that I'm doing this live. So we went from 7% to 40%. Is that the men's fault? No. Is that the women's fault? No. Is it either one of our faults? No. We truly have been railroaded into what will be best for us. Our men stepped away because they knew we were so strong, where we are willing to sacrifice our own lives, let alone removing ourselves from the home. They knew that as women, period, self-preservation comes first. They exploited the natural process of a woman's self-preservation that has been exploited. What they did was they knew a woman wants to be taken care of. A woman wants to know that her and the kids will be secured. And so what they did was they just basically like middleman and intercepted and cutthroat the whole deal. And that deal was, you stay with your women and your people, we stay with ours. You take care of yours, we take care of ours. They infiltrated. They took care of their own. They even came over here and they offered a deal that they know most would consider to be unrefutable, irrefutable. They knew that. And it's sad the way that they did this. But you know something? I still say to myself, it ain't nothing that they can do to keep any progress that we have as the most powerful force on earth going. It's nothing that they can do to stop that from keep going. Why? Because everything that takes place when it comes to this is far beyond what any man would ever think that they have control of. Now, before we get up out of here, I want us to listen to this. Why? Because it's very, very prevalent. All right? So I want us to hear this, okay? Let me go ahead and get to this right here. There we go. So let's do it. Let's do it. 1 second. This has everything to do with what they talk about before we get up out of here. Let's go. We're not going to do the whole thing because, again, we're going to do a part 2. Let's rock out.
Do you think that race plays a part in wealth distribution, or either a mindset that you can't or
Today?
cannot? Yeah.
No.
You don't?
No, I don't. Hey, you and I, we're proof. Why would race have anything to do with it? Put your mind to what you want to do and go for that. It's kind of like religion to me. It's a good excuse for not getting there.
Now, I want us to pay attention. There's a little bit that I'm going to play for a moment or so. I want us to pay attention to how much it is real. There are just a very small but certain amount of us who actually know all of this is a magic trick. And we all know magic tricks always has strings behind the curtains. Let's go.
Are we in the United States of America in race relations and what you see from day to day in your life?
Skip, they wouldn't want to ask me that. They wouldn't want my answer to represent it because God knows I have been nothing but blessed. My whole path, these 33 years have been nothing but a blessing. I have never, never is a strong word, I've never dealt with racism.
Now let's really think about that. Will we say that's really the case? Or are you in a position to where you are promised a certain amount of comfortability to where just say that? Because we want to make sure that the confusion stays going. I want us to pay attention. The one right before him, Morgan Freeman, an elder, was speaking about, it's not about that. It's about the headspace and the mentality. And then Lil Wayne comes up and he says, nah, it just, I've never experienced it at all. I can't front. There's no way I can believe that a true gangster from New Orleans never experienced real racism.
I'm glad I didn't have to.
There is a class of colored people who make a business of keeping the troubles, the wrongs, and the hardships of the Negro race before the public. Some of these people do not want the Negro to lose his grievances because they do not want to lose their jobs. There is a certain class of race problem solvers who don't want the patient to get well.
And that is something that I believe to be very true. I do believe that there will be always a certain amount of feel good that is distributed throughout my people's community, just good enough to get rid of the headache of reality. And what this fake ass Tylenol Advil is going to do is it's going to give you this sense of temporary relief. Nothing will be fixed. None of your politicians will answer anything that you have to say. You will send email after email. You will contact HR after HR. But what we will continuously do is give you just enough to make you feel good enough to shut the F up and leave us alone so we can get back to the real diabolical plan. And we know that you all are actually strong enough. You all are in number enough to flip this over overnight. But you know what we absolutely ride on? Is every day that you wake up lazy, you wake up docile, and you never really tap in. We depend on that. We depend on you never really seeing what we're doing. Not under your nose, directly in front of your face. We rely on that. We rely on you never really saying anything. You know what we rely on the most? Your own. Making sure that they hush up and shut up. Those of you, your own, who actually speak out against these things. We rely on those of your own who actually love that ignorant shit. They love that drama. They love the messiness. We rely on them to shed all of you who are truly of righteous heart and spirit. We rely on them to smother and just sound out and muffle everything you have to say of righteousness. Let's go.
That was said by Booker T. Washington.
How are we going to get rid of racism until...
Stop talking about it. I'm going to stop calling you a white man.
Yeah.
And I'm going to ask you to stop calling me a black man.
It's frustrating to me that people take race and they make it personal. You know what I mean? Like we're at a loss in this generation. If you look at it in the 80s, Archie Bunker was a stark racist. Stark. If you don't know who Archie Bunker is, look him up. All in the Family. Great show.
That's hard to go by again. That's one of us, but let's be for real. What do you mean take racism seriously? How do we do it? We do it simply because it's something that's been introduced to us in a very, very serious form. Racism was introduced to us because our scrotums were cut off. We were hung. Racism was introduced to us because we weren't allowed to just at least have some kind of pastime and read a book. If we were to read anything, it had to be the word that was handed to us by the slave master. You can't dismiss what has taken place. Let's go. Like real shit though.
The Jeffersons, stark racist. Fred Sanford, stark racist. But you know what black people and white people did? They laughed. You watch 48 Hours with Eddie Murphy and Nick Nolte. Both of them hated each other because he was black and because he was white. You know what they did? They laughed.
But I ask you.
Yes, that's true. They laughed. See, the thing is that because of so many things that we never addressed, we one day woke up and we saw young brothers on the news like this. Okay. That's what we one day grew up and saw. It's a little yummy. One day we grew up and we had one that wasn't even able to make it, never stood a chance. Why? Because of everything that was set in place long before this young brother came about. We already gave up. We already threw in the towel. We already acquiesced to what it is that's not best for us as a community. And it's sad. Let's keep on going.
What the racial breakdown was of your audience. Do you remember this? You told me the only black face you could see in the whole audience was your makeup artist. I believe that's what you said. And she was in the front row, right? A lot of white kids love rap.
Yes.
Explain that. What does that say to you? What's the message of it? What's the bigger picture of it?
I don't want to be bashed because I don't want to sound like I'm on the wrong if there is a side, but I thought that was clearly a message that there was no such thing as racism.
No, that's just clearly the indication that what's going to take place is certain platforms are going to pedestalize a certain group of us that they know are influential enough because, again, they know we are too powerful to infiltrate from the outside in. The only way to get us is from the inside out. They infiltrate us by the spirit, hand them the word. They infiltrate us by disease, give them AIDS. They infiltrate us by having our own go a certain direction. Pass to them their own people who will say whatever. There are many, many ways to skin a cat. You ever heard that before? You ever heard there are many, many ways to skin a cat? We have to keep this in mind. This is something I always want us to make sure that we know. So many ways that they've infiltrated us. And they got us going at this dumbass gender war. This dumbass light-skin, dark-skin war. This dumbass you from the hood, I'm from the suburbs war. They got us going at each other in so many ways. And then they sit back and they just collect the money off of our dead corpse. Right? It's our dead corpses that they really get by on. And that's why I keep myself in the headspace of where I am. I know what it is. I know what they're doing. I see the infiltration. I see that how they have us to where somehow or another we have to figure out a way to go at each other. But you won't get me, nor will you get the village that I reside in, because we solid, we thorough, and we strong over here, because it's nothing like a solid man. And with that being said, y'all better know all day in the pain. Sure. I digress. My mic is muted. This has been your boy Smitty. We're going to go ahead and get up out of here. Respect to you all.
Yeah. It's coming up, right? Yeah. Yo. Yeah. Yeah. Y'all should drug test us. My guess is I won't be on your guest list. I'm unimpressed with doing press kids. I'm good on looking desperate. I'm on the intersection exit, just missed the pedestrian. Been etched in stone for years and still I got room for perfection. Sometimes I random check it just to see if I still got it. To see it is still shocking. Was lost for words. I be lost for words. Still selling out arenas and of course some merch. Got my Emmy nomination. I directed my first docu-series. The EGOT is near me. Emmy, Grammy, Oscar, Tony. This is not no theory. Pouring bottles of Hennessy. Got me talking choppy. Over sample chops from Chauncey. I'm lost for words. Was lost for words. My mom told me clean the room, never shop with saving son. Great to have it now, but when it triple shot to death, I had a key around my neck on a string. A curfew, yes, a time to be back at my rest. And my peers I will protect. There was pee all on the steps, slipped when our sneakers got wet. Scared to grab that tech, but I had to get my respect. I was wow. Was lost for words. My guess is someone to replace your soul. AI is only here to replicate and control. Imitating the original, then graft them a mold of the binary code. It's your patterns they stole. This my tactical flow, the one they can't redesign. You could redo the voice, but you could never read my mind. Was lost for words. These times.
Gonna love you all through the morning. Gonna love you all.
Yeah, see I'm going where I've been, know how you feel.
Gonna love you all through the morning. Gonna love you all.
I see you going where I've been. I know how you feel. Was at the same place you were now in. You shouting, announcing. You want to win with similar-minded men with great business acumen. We can make an accusation to the topic turn from tight pockets to high profits. To life is...
Respect. Welcome back to Smitty's Corner. All right, so it is time for our daily dose of wisdom. The weak-minded will always blame others. The average of us will always blame themselves. And the wise ones will see all blame as foolishness. I digress.
For sure, it's at what age do we all cop it? Fuck who the hottest, who really stand up, who really messing with their dead man girl. That says everything about that man world. Energy transfer, immortality. You against morality, don't come around me. Homicidal vinyl section where they always found me. By the motion picture soundtrack with Richard Roundtree on the album sleeve. That's my era shit. Musical excellence, hot like on a detective list. It's simple shit that's keeping you from the shift. You a simp, a trick, or in love with your own dick. Distractions, they come in all ways. I just keep it calm, watching it all play out like it's supposed to. Old dudes playing chess in the park. Old dudes playing chess in prison. Stay on good behavior for extra business.
I got one. I got one right now. I'm trying to get her in. Oh, got it. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. I got it. Yeah. Got one. Got one. We got one. Look at that. Look at that. God damn it. Come on. Look at that. Look at that. I got it, bruh. I got it, bruh. Look at that. Yeah. Yeah.
Was to switch places, could you tell a difference? It's perspective, isn't it? A team that's militant, a down-ass woman by your side that get it in. The realest, I love this feeling. If you don't have a team that's militant, you better be brilliant. I love this feeling. If you don't have no team that's militant, be mentally equipped. I love this feeling. Watch everybody. That's why I love my team. I love this feeling. Keep calm, but watch everything. It's your monthly subscription to the Slums Edition. The new it was written. Get your hard copies of Blockology coming from the one who lived in a bowl for goldfish. I never sell my soul, just evolve shock rap. That what you never been told shit. Cold part, Illmatic all through that episode of Ozark. I think that's harder than if I had co-starred a ghetto symphony. I'm Chief Keith Cozart, mixed with Mozart. It's ill when you get bags for your own art. $1 million stick for.
This is a big ass snapping turtle.
Yes, it is.
This is how you safely do it. You're supposed to get them from the back, right here. Now watch this. Watch them. You're gonna snap on me. See that?
Yep.
See that? That's how you pick them up safe. Come on, buddy. Come on, I got you. Let's go and get back in that water. Ah!
Oh, you hit the
That nigga
thing.
big as shit, bro.
No, pick him up one more time.
Nah, I ain't picking his ass up. I am not touching him. He know where he's at.
Wait.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
You gotta press record again.
Algebra rap, but they ain't understand it when it drop. Yo, how cold is that? They asking if I'm ever gonna be over rap. But I left a few times, just never told you that. Amassing digital assets, no fiscal year kickbacks, yeah, we cash it. Physical money think different, we outlast them. We outclass them, they made it easy to pass them. I love this feeling. I just keep it calm, watching it all play out like it's supposed to. Old dudes playing chess in the park, old dudes playing chess in prison. Stay on good behavior for extra visits. If they was to switch places, could you tell a difference? It's perspective, isn't it? A team that's militant, a down-ass woman by your side that get it in. The realest, I love this feeling. Everything.
Oh man. Absolutely beautiful. I don't know y'all view. I'm in the real deal. I'm out here in that real deal, baby. Sheesh. I love it. You know.
Day we do whatever we want. Can't front. Yo, I love this feeling. Getting dressed, getting fly just to go to the studio. Hey yo, I love this feeling. Hey yo, tomorrow I'm juicing for the rest of the week, just cause I love this feeling.
Boy, Smitty's Corner.
Racing took off today, yo. We're getting on a private jet. I love this feeling. Yeah, I love this feeling.